Haha! Didn't expect me to enter from that side, did you? Are you all ready, ladies and gentlemen? It's been a while, but it's now time once again for ELBAPH! Actually, wait, are we even still in ELBAPH right now? Aren't we doing something with, like, Rox's backstory? Do I even need to still wear this cloak? Can I please take this cloak off? It's been 7 months! It's the middle of July! It's so hot out right now! It was fun for a while, but it just gets ridiculous. Oh, all right, yes, I have now reached my full power. All right. So, how y'all been? It's been a bit. I know it's been a break week. There was no chapter last week, and then before that, the chapter where we got all that wang, I was in a hotel. I was over at Techo, which was a lot of fun this year, but it feels like it's been forever since I just did a normal One Piece review, which, with that being said, this will be One Piece, chapter 1156 review, titled Idols. Yeah, did that rhyme? Titled Idols. Sounds like it rhymes. I don't know how rhyming works. Anyway, so we do not continue Yamato's Holy Inari Shrine pilgrimage, although until we do continue that cover story, I'm going to have a bunch of theories on who the shrine belonged to. Spoiler alert, there's a new character shown in this chapter who I think the shrine might belong to. But anyway, we get a really nice cover page, like a color spread. We have Roger laughing, as he's wont to do. We also have Rayleigh, Stopper, Gibbon, the big three of Roger's crew, and we have the big three of Luffy's crew, of the Straw Hats. We got Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji. Also, Nami's there as well. The other Straw Hats are too, but they've been, like, shrunk down and are inside of, like, Luffy's pockets. Either that or Luffy's been, like, gigantified or something like that. But it's a cool little color spread. All right. So, there's a couple of loose ends we've yet to address involving this backstory with Rox, which originally started as a backstory with Harald, which originally started as a backstory with Loki. So to be fair, to clarify, I don't think Loki is explaining this entire backstory within the 3 minutes. Mostly because there's so much of this that he was not there for. Wouldn't it be funny if Loki's just making all this up? Loki had, like, hero worship of Rox, and he's like, yeah, he was so cool. He clashed with my dad at Reverie, and he confronted the shadowy ruler of the world, and he killed an admiral. But, like, Loki himself has no knowledge of any of this. He's just making it up because he's so cool, you know? So Loki is telling the story of how Harald was killed, and then through that, like, Oda and the narrator and Panda Man are taking it away to explain Harald's backstory. And in order to understand Harald's backstory, you need to understand Rox's backstory. And in order to understand Rox's backstory, you need to understand Wang's backstory. So there's a lot going on here. Anyway, remember at God Valley, we had Gloriosa of the Kuja Pirates of Amazon Lily. She was the Empress back then. Well, I guess she wasn't the Empress during God Valley, but she was also a part of the Rox crew. Remember, she was having that little back and forth with Buckingham Stussy. And so we've yet to really address the Kuja yet and what was going on with them. So in this chapter, at the beginning, we kind of focus on them a little bit to see what was happening. So it's not really directly mentioned if we're still 44 years ago, but I'm going to say it was right around that time frame, if not a little bit before that. At the end of the chapter, the Rox Pirates are officially formed, and we know for a fact that that was 44 years ago, which lines up with two things. It lines up with Kaido joining at age 15, we already knew that, and it lines up with at the end of the last chapter when Rox's fleet was approaching Hachinosu, and that was 44 years ago, okay? So the chapter here opens up with a title box that just says, "Back in those days." Oh, yes. Back in those days. Certain idols roamed the seas. Oh, yes. Just a bunch of utas all over the place. Singing, taught musica in runes. How did Uta sing a song in runes? I don't even know how that worked, but it was a good song. Anyway, so, yeah. We see the Kuja Pirates recently attacking a certain island. The island's not really important. All of the men on the island that were there to defend it are on the ground, hearts in their eyes, beaten senseless. All of the ladies of the island are like, "What are you men doing? Get up and fight!" And they're just like, "They were too strong, too powerful. We just couldn't do anything against them." And so they mention how even the Marines could not oppose this particular pirate crew. They were known as the Kuja Pirates, a crew that hailed from the elusive Island of Women, Amazon Lily. Okay, so this is something that is parallel to when we first met Boa Hancock, when my man Momonga faced off against Boa. His entire crew turned to stone, but Momonga was steadfast and stern enough to stab himself in the hand to resist the alluring beauty of Boa. Very similar to that, where even back in the days, and it was mentioned that the Kuja, this was at like the height of their popularity. They were way more successful, way more well-known in the world back then for two very big reasons, and we're going to get to them in a moment. So we see their ship right here, actually, which looks a lot like the exact same ship they have now, so I'm assuming it's the same one. It's called the Perfume Yuta, and the Yuta are the name of the highly venomous serpents that tow the ship around, so that's what allows them to gain access to Amazon Lily. The calm belt is calm, so there's no wind, and so you need some kind of propulsion to get your ship there. So some people use paddles and stuff. The Yuta are these serpents that pull their pirate ship around, okay? So they were back then, that was pretty cool. So the first person that was responsible for this well-known infamy and idol status of the Kuja Pirates was their captain, who at the time was the Empress. It seems like whoever's the current Empress becomes the just automatic captain of the pirate crew, the Kuja Pirates. And the captain at this time, around 44 years ago, was Gloriosa, the woman that would eventually become Granny Neon, who we know at the beginning of Amazon Lily when she gets kicked out of the castle, kind of similar to when Kuzco kicks out that old guy. She's the one that kind of lives on the edge of the village, and she tries to coax Boa to go to Marineford, and she helps Luffy out a little bit. That's her, okay, in her younger years. So nowadays, Granny Neon is somewhat akin to a shriveled up prune or some such. Back in the day, she had it going on, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, she was quite the bombshell. So she's walking around the ship after they just took out this village and, you know, raided them for all their treasure and everything. And she's talking about how she grows weary of her own beauty. Day and night it always goes this way. Will Gloriosa ever be able to shed her amazing beauty? And she's doing like a JoJo pose as she's like walking around and lamenting her own beauty and saying that like, oh, one day will I ever be able to shed this beauty? It's such a weight that I bear on my shoulders, among other things. But yeah, don't worry, Gloriosa. I suppose you're going to get your wish. Here's the thing. Oda has drawn all of the Straw Hats like in like a good universe and a bad universe, depending on how things go for them, right? And often in the good universe, they relatively keep their own appearances. Like Nami at age 60 looks pretty much like she does now at age 20. In the bad universe, she's, you know, like a chain smoker, and she doesn't really look the same anymore, right? So I kind of have to wonder, and we're gonna see this with Shaki, and oh boy, we're gonna see Shaki in this chapter, let me tell you. But it's sort of a thing where maybe Gloriosa is actually living out like the bad version of her future or some such, okay? Now, we've already seen Gloriosa before. We've seen her at God Valley, all right? So we already knew she was part of the Rocks Pirates, but we see her here as the captain of the Kuja still, okay? And so, yeah, she's walking around and she's dazzling, and there's little sparkle effects around her wherever she goes. All of the Kuja on the ship are also fainting as she walks by them and just like, oh my god, Captain Gloriosa, she is a goddess on Earth. She's so splendiferous. Is that a word? I don't know. It just, you have to invent new words for how amazing she is, right? Like, that's how beauty she is, and she's soaking up every moment of it. She might as well be walking around with giant spotlights everywhere, striking the JoJo poses, you know? So that is Gloriosa. So a member of the Kuja Pirates approaches her with a giant stack of fan mail, and she's like, Empress Gloriosa, a new batch of fan mail has arrived for you. And then so she is just like, ah, yes, of course, my adoring fans, I gain more every day. And then she looks over and then she sees there's another pile of fan mail that is literally like a mountain of fan mail on the deck of the Perfume Yuta. And she's like, what about that giant pile of fan mail over there? Oh, those are for Lady Shaki. And Gloriosa's very upset over that, or Shakuyaku, I should say, which is her real name. Okay, so before we get to that, little bit of a side note, the girl that comes over and delivers the fan letters to Gloriosa is Tritoma. Tritoma is the previous Empress of Amazon Lily right before Boa. So the way this shakes down, here's a handy little chart in case you get confused. Boa Hancock is the current Empress of Amazon Lily. Before her was Tritoma. Then before her was Shakuyaku, or Shaki, and then before even her was Gloriosa, who is currently Elder Neon. Alright, so we all on the same page there, okay? I hope things work out for Tritoma here. She seems to be just up and coming on the Kuja Pirates. Nah, I'm just kidding. She dies. Da-da-da-da-da-da. No, I mean, it's tragic, but we know that. I mean, like, she's dead, okay? So the whole idea here is of the love sickness that the empresses of the Kuja seem rather privy to. This happens. This happened to Boa. It also happened to Gloriosa. It also happened to Tritoma. It apparently also happened to Shakuyaku. I don't know if it happens to just any of the Kuja, or it only happens to the empresses, but it seems like, well, I guess we don't know for certain that Shaki had it, but it's implied, so we're already like 4 for 4 of the 4 empresses that we know about, okay? So, the deal is, Gloriosa had this love sickness. We're going to find out the guy that she had it for was, in fact, Goldie Roger, King of the Pirates, matey! But we also know Roger doesn't end up with Gloriosa, so, yeah, it didn't work out too well there. But that was the guy that she was smitten with. Shaki seems rather obvious. It was Rayleigh. And then we had Tritoma here. Now, Tritoma's situation is a little bit different, okay? So, after Gloriosa and Shakuyaku leave, she becomes the Empress, and she is also afflicted with love sickness. However, maybe because the 2 previous Empresses decided to leave and somewhat abandon Amazon Lily and the Kuja, maybe Tritoma was like, I'm not going to be like that. I'm going to stay here, and I'm going to rule the country. And it might even be worse because, like, Gloriosa and Shaki may have very well left the status of Empress not long. Like, Tritoma might have been burdened with it, okay? Like, Gloriosa leaves, then Shaki becomes the Empress, and maybe Shaki's only the Empress for a little while, and then she leaves, and then it's like, okay, Tritoma, I guess you're up next, and Tritoma's like, what the hell, guys? You know, like, you can't just keep shirking your responsibilities to go out and... Now, granted, it is a disease that does kill you if you do not pursue your love, the person that you love. If you do not go out to sea and pursue them, then you will die. But I guess the implication is if you go out and chase your love, then eventually you can come back. I'm assuming that's how it works. But anyway, Tritoma, she was afflicted with the love sickness as well. She did not leave, and she died, okay? However, at one point, Gloriosa did come back to the island because the whole reason that she was accepted, she was kind of exiled to the outside of the village in a little hut because she did abandon her people at one point. But the Empress at the time was Tritoma. Now, Gloriosa brought back the Boa siblings, Hancock, Sandersonia, and Marigold after they were captured by the Celestial Dragons and then freed by Fisher Tiger. They couldn't find their way back home. And so Gloriosa found them, brought them back to the village. Tritoma took mercy on her and allowed her to live in the village as an exile, like on the outskirts, and welcome the Boa siblings back, okay? And I suppose she died shortly thereafter, and then Boa Hancock became the Empress. We know Boa became a warlord of the sea at age 18. I'm assuming it was around the same time she also became the Empress. The reason Boa became a warlord to begin with was because of the reputation of the former Empresses, which, given the fact of Gloriosa being a member of the Rocks Pirates, and then Shakuyaku, and then also Tritoma, I'm assuming, had a lot of accolades as well, and you know, gained notoriety fighting the Marines too. So, you know, it's because of all of her predecessors is the thing that made Boa a warlord almost immediately as soon as she became Empress, okay? So, that's a lot of back lore. That's a lot of information about just a character that shows up in 2 panels. But Tritoma was originally shown to us in an SBS, so this is the first time she's shown up in the actual manga, and I don't know if Oda really has a big plan for her or anything. It's just like, Tritoma, future Empress of Amazon Lily. Oh, by the way, they're all named after flowers, just like all of the Kuja are. So yeah, there we go. But we're barely in the chapter. Okay, so let's just touch base really quick to make sure we're all on the same page here. Okay, after this first page of the manga. All right, so Long time ago, Kuja Pirates were all over the place. Gloriosa was wicked hot back then, and Shaki was even hotter, and even more people loved her. Okay, are we all on the same page here? All right, gotcha. All right, cool. So Gloriosa's kind of upset. She's like, how could Shaki upstage her own captain? That's total betrayal. And so she's throwing a little bit of a huff, but everybody on the crew still finds her extraordinarily attractive, and just like, even when she's angry, it's like an icy gem. It's blinding us with her beauty. Oh my goodness, right? So the narrator comes on and says that indeed, the only person that was said to outshine the beauty of the radiant Gloriosa, the star of her era, the idol of the Grand Line, was in fact none other than her first mate, Shakuyaku. We're gonna see Shaki in a moment here, okay? We're getting there, all right? So, enemy ship attacking! Alright, well, who's the ship? Alright, who would dare attack the Kuja Pirates at the height of their popularity? Well, we all know whose era this is, ladies and gentlemen, right? Right? This is like 40-something years ago. And we all know, yeah, Rox might be around doing some weird stuff, but we also know of another certain pirate that's at the top of his game before he got unidentified disease. Before he got disease that killed him. We have the Pirate King, the future Pirate King, Gold D. Roger, and the Roger Pirates at their full power, sailing right towards the Kuja. Oh, okay, this is it. And you know what? Roger's always in for a good fight. I bet he's there to avenge the people on the island or something. I don't know, maybe that was his territory or something. And like, hey, Kuja Pirates, knock it off. You know, the Roger Pirates are here to fight. So Roger takes out a megaphone, and he had such a little Den Mushi on top of the megaphone. I think we saw one of those very similar in the live action. I don't know if we've ever seen one in the story, but it's pretty cool. So he pulls out a megaphone, and he announces to the Kuja Pirates, today's the day! It's like, ooh, there might be a long-standing rivalry here. Two very strong pirate crews coming together. I see where this is going. Today's the day we finally win her from you, matey. We're taking your first mate, Shakuyaku, if my name isn't Goldie Roger. Okay. Calm down, Roger. Down, boy. It's like, that's a little bit... I mean, that's just kidnapping right there. I mean, I know Roger's a pirate and all, but like, yeah, all right. So anyway, that's what we're doing, I guess. All right. Even their beauty was something that even like captivated Roger, King of the Pirates. Actually, there's a point that Oda's trying to make here, and it's that even the strongest fighters of that era, the strongest people of that era were still just nothing compared to the beauty of Gloriosa and Shakuyaku, especially Shakuyaku. But, yeah, so I guess the Roger Pirates just roll up to try to kidnap Shaki. It's like, all right. So Gloriosa's there, and she, as I said, is infatuated with Roger. So she's like, you never learn, Roger. Aren't I a woman enough for you right here? And so, nothing to say that like, oh, you're trying to kidnap my first mate. We're not going to let that happen. No, it's just, Roger, I'm right here. Take me away. And Roger just kind of completely ignores Gloriosa this entire chapter. It's kind of funny, actually. But anyway, yeah, so the Perfume Yuta and the Oro Jackson. Oh, wait a minute. We have to check for the egg. Check for the egg. Enhance. The egg is still on the ship. What is up with that egg? So this is well before them finding Laughtail. So the egg did not come from Laughtail. The egg did not come from God Valley. The egg did not... This is even before Lodestar. Yeah, this is before Lodestar. So the egg didn't come from Lodestar. What is the origin of this egg? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Anyway, everybody's freaking out because, like, everybody's so damn attractive in this chapter. Oh my god, they're so hot! Alright, so as soon as Roger announced what he's there for, a door just burst open, like a woman on the Perfume Yuta just kicked open one of the doors and just like, who did you come to take away again, Roger? And at that moment, like, everybody, like the world stops. The world literally stops rotating. Every bird in the sky stops. Every cloud stops. The sun stops shining for a moment. The entire universe freezes up, all right? As Shaki emerges out onto the deck of the ship. Basically, everybody almost just dies immediately. Almost everybody immediately just passes out. And just like, whoa! You know how like in old movies and stuff, you know, like a woman would be walking around just like, oh my goodness, oh! You know, like she pulls out a handkerchief and everybody like falls over. That's kind of what's happening here, okay? So all the Kuja are about to pass out. We see all the members of Roger's crew. We see Mugren, we see Scopper Gyaban, we see Spencer is there. They all have the hearts in their eyes and they're all freaking out. And so some of them start to pull out flowers to offer to Shakuyaku, like, Shakuyaku, please accept my flower. But the flowers begin to wilt at the sheer beauty of this woman. You thought I was joking. No, about like the birds stop. No. In her presence, flowers wilted, and they actually do. Birds lost their ability to sing, to use their songs, and the birds are in the sky. The birds have hearts in their eyes, and they're like, tweet, tweet, tweet. They freeze up. The Matrix glitches up at the mere presence of Shaki. And don't worry, I figured out the mystery. I figured out why. Okay, we'll get to that in a moment, okay? And I think you'll all agree. But anyway, birds lost their songs and people turned on one another. All of a sudden, the Roger Pirates start like beating the shit out of each other. It's like, you stay away from Shaki! No, she's for me! And so everyone's just beating the ever-loving crap out of one another. And so she approaches. Shaki goes after Gyaban first. And she's like, oh, Gyaban. And Scopper immediately is immobilized, like, she said my name, I'm frozen in a state of pure ecstasy, boom! And so Shaki just does a front flip and then like kicks him an uppercut right there on the face. He goes down. Roger goes up next. This is Roger. This is peak Roger right here. He pulls out Ace. And he's just like, how dare you do that to Gyaban? Roar! And so Shaki immediately knocks him down with one hit, one kick. Roger is down with this one panel of Shaki staring down to Roger, who is in between her legs. And she lights up a cigarette. and it's just like, Roger's on the ground and he's like, damn it, Shakuyaku. I just can't do it. You're just too attractive. And she just lights up a cigarette and she's like, you too, Roger, huh? Her beauty humbled even the mightiest warriors. So she goes down, and there's even more sparkles around Shakuyaku than there were around Gloriosa. I like to think the sparkles are actually there around her. Like, her walking around is enough to warp physics, and just like she creates her own light and luminescence, all right? You should know, I'll never submit to another's captivity. So she goes down and kind of like, you know, touches Roger's chin and is just kind of like, yes, okay. And then bam, just knocks him down, right? And so we see Shakuyaku, first mate of the Kuja Pirates. We get the introductory box for her. The other Kujas are all crying for how beautiful and how expertly she dispatched the Roger Pirates. Man, I'll tell you what right now, it's like, Power Scaler's gonna love this chapter. Just like, yeah, Roger, man. Roger, Garp, Shanks, Rocks. Who are the strongest? No, I mean, it's canonically Shaki. I mean, we just saw it canonically. Shaki is the strongest. I'm sorry, everybody. That's just true, all right? Oh, man. So Gloriosa goes over to comfort Roger and is just like, Roger, you know I'm the one that truly loves you, right? And then Roger just like shoves Gloriosa aside and just like, Gloriosa, get out of the way, you're blocking Shaki. She stepped on me, Gloriosa, get out of the way. Man, we are one step shy in this chapter of Roger going like, just turning into a cartoon wolf and going like a woo guy. Like we are literally just a hair's breadth away from that, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my god. Shaki broke my monitor. Shaki was so attractive, it caused my monitor to reset. At any rate, after much deliberation, I had to get an entire think tank together, okay, to mobilize to figure out the mystery of Shakuyaku's beauty. But we finally discovered it. Are you ready? Are you ready for it? Okay, I'll tell you. She's goth Nami. Yeah, There it is. I know you weren't ready for that, but that is who Shakuyaku is at this point. She is Goth Nami. You fools! You've messed with the natural order! Like, the entire universe begins to rip apart. We're not ready for Goth Nami. Like, Gloriosa is extremely attractive, okay? Like an idol, right? She's striking the poses, and then she's glorious and everything, hourglass figure, all that stuff in one piece. But then Shakuyaku will be the one to show up and will, like, step on you. She's more like dominatrix kind of style, right? But Goth Nami is a good way to decide on that. So yeah, that shatters all of known reality. However, there is one person in the midst of all this, which is actually hilarious, that is, like, completely immune, or maybe not completely immune, but, like, is immune enough to be watching all of this nonsense happen like it is a cartoon. Okay, so Shaki herself is not, like, captivated by her own beauty. She's normal. But then she looks over at Rayleigh. And Rayleigh he doesn't have the hearts in his eyes. He's not losing himself. He's not, like, attacking his own crewmates. You know, Rayleigh's just off to the side like, this is stupid. Like, guys, like, Roger, come on. And, like, what are we doing here, right? And then Shaki just glances over at Rayleigh. And she's just like, in the most candid way possible, just, like, matter-of-factly, like, Rayleigh, it's gotta be tough. It has to be not easy with these guys, right? And it's so hard for you. And then Rayleigh just sighs, and he's like, yes, I am surrounded by idiots constantly. So there's just this moment of, like, this is actually really cute, okay, the way that Oda depicts this, okay? How everybody is just going, like, diving over themselves, trying to even get a glance at Shaki and Gloriosa. And then it's just a moment between these two, where it's just like, this is stupid, right, Rayleigh? Yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one. And so Shaki kind of, like, winks at him, just like, there you go. And then Rayleigh, he doesn't get the hard eyes or anything like that. He's just kind of like, oh, okay, you know? And so that's a perfect setup for later, where Shaki is like, okay, you're the only man that literally doesn't melt into a puddle of goo when I even approach them or even look in their general direction. So, yeah, I guess, you know, I'll marry you, because Shaki and Rayleigh are essentially married, okay? So, yeah, that's actually a really cute scene of, like, Shaki just flirting with Rayleigh, and then Rayleigh just being like, oh, okay, all right. And so oh, man. Yeah, Rayleigh managed to... It all worked out for them. It all worked out for them. They are happily married, living on Sabaody Archipelago. Rayleigh goes out and gambles a lot and drinks quite a bit. But, you know, they seem to have something going there. I'm happy for them, okay? Get them a nice anniversary present, I assume. All right. So at this moment, the Navy arrives, all right? A naval ship spots the Kuja and the Roger Pirates, and they begin to engage. And meanwhile, Shaki is like, you know, rob the Roger Pirates, steal everything they have of worth. And so they go and start, you know, robbing them, and Roger's completely immobilized, so he can't really do much of anything. And so the Marines arrive, and it is Garp in his younger years. Garp, Roger, they should all be around, like, in their early 40s at this point. Yeah, if Garp is 70, well, actually, maybe in their 30s even. Garp is 78 right now. If this was 44 years ago, so 68, 58... 48, 38. Oh, no, this would be like, no, they'd be in like their early 30s. Yeah, no, this is even before that. This is long before even God Valley and Lodestar and everything like that, right? So, Roger immediately gets up, he composes himself, and he's just like, wait, what did you say? That's Garp's ship. All right, men, new plan. We attack the Marines instead. But Captain, we can't. It's painful to walk now. It's like, suck it up, men. Take a cold shower. It's time to fight. Oh my goodness. All right, so we see this awesome scene here with Roger in his younger years, Garp in his younger years, picking up a cannonball, and we see their title boxes: Pirate Gold D. Roger, future king of the pirates, and father of Ace, and wielder of Ace. And then we have Vice Admiral Monkey D. Garp, future hero of the Marines and grandfather of Luffy. All of the titles that Garp has right now, hero he did not have yet. He didn't get the fist epithet until he fought Chinjiao, which would have been later than this as well. And he's also not the grandfather of Luffy, although he would be the father of Dragon at this point. Well, actually, wait a minute. Yes. Dragon is 55, which means Garp would have been 23 when Dragon was born. Yeah, so Dragon at this point would be like, he'd be like like 10 or something, like 12 years old dragon. You know, I don't know if Garp is already enlisting him in the Marines, but hey, this is an impressive thing because he's a vice admiral at this point, in his 30s, okay? And it was said before many times that he could have been promoted to admiral. He kept turning it down because then you have to take orders directly from the Tenryubito. Garp didn't want that, so he made vice admiral probably, maybe a little bit before this. I don't know if there's a moment where it even doesn't matter how strong you are. He also didn't join the Marines until he was like 22. So this is only like 10 years or like 12 years or so since the Reverie incident where that admiral died. That's the same year he joined with Sengoku and Tsuru. So it's only been 12 years after he joined, and I guess he went from recruit to vice admiral in that time. That is very impressive, okay? And he stayed at that position the entire time. So they begin to engage. Garp uses his meteor fist, and we also get a new technique from Roger. The only technique we knew up until now was the Kamusari, or divine departure. Now we have Ara Mitama, which is a reference to a violent kind of spirit in Shinto teachings. I'm like, okay. So I think we're going to get the general vibe of Garp's swordsmanship. Not Garp's swordsmanship. Garp doesn't use swords! He uses fists! Of Roger's swordsmanship. It's going to be named after, like, gods and references and stuff to that. You know, so divine departure. Here's a Shinto spirit. You know, those kind of things, right? And so, like, literally there's a moment. It's like in Naruto. It's like, Naruto! Sasuke! It's Garp! Roger! And then they clash. And then we see, in this awesome spread, we see Garp using his fist, punching Roger in the face with armament hockey and Conqueror's hockey flying out. It actually doesn't even look like the punch is even connecting. Like, the fist is getting close to his face, and then Roger's face is just bending backwards. And then we have Roger's sword going up against Garp. And then we have the narrator coming on again, and he says, Roger, Garp, and Rox. These three would be spoken of as legends of the great pirate era. So, like, these are the three gods of their day, man. We're talking about Garp in his younger years, the god of the Marines, and then Roger and Rox being like pirate deities and how strong they were, you know what I mean? But at this time, their blood burned with the passion of youth. So this was like, this is the youngest we've seen, well, I guess not the youngest we've seen Roger yet. There was the scene where he first met Rayleigh, and when Rayleigh was reminiscing about him when Luffy was going into the New World, and he was like, hey, Rayleigh, how about we turn this world upside down, you and I? And Rayleigh's like, are you crazy? Yes, I be, matey, get on me ship. I'm the one that has the ship. Right, I be getting on your ship. So we've seen Roger there. But yeah, this is Roger and Garp and everybody when they weren't gods. They weren't legends. They were quite strong, of course. They were ungodly strong. Not strong enough to beat Shaki, though. I don't know how Garp would have fared against Shaki. We don't really see that in this chapter. But I don't know. I have a feeling he would have been defeated just as soundly for whatever reason. But yeah, you know, this is not taken as... This is more like... relaxed in a way of just how goofy this kind of all is, with like Shaki and Gloriosa making everybody pass out from just how beautiful they are, you know, and then you know, Roger's like charging after Shaki and then getting like one shot, and then Shaki turns to Rayleigh and is like, this is really kind of stupid. Yeah, I know, right? So this is like not as intense. It doesn't have as much weight to it as like the scene at God Valley when Rox and Roger and Garp were all there clashing with one another, right? Like this is much more like, the early days, you know, like back in the day, things were simpler, you know, it wasn't, before you get into your One Pieces and your road poneglyphs and your lodestars and your emus and everything, it was just Garp and Roger beating the crap out of each other on a casual Tuesday, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, let's see here. Anyway, we come back over to the Kuja pirate ship. Gloriosa has passed out. So this is the effects of the love sickness finally taking hold. And Shaki's holding on to her like, Gloriosa, can you hear me? They're like, wake up, this isn't good. And she's like panting and she's like, my heart aches for him. I simply can't stand it. And everybody else is passing out because now Gloriosa and Shaki are like holding one another. So that's enough to like make everybody's heart explode in like a, you know, 10-kilometer radius or whatever, right? So many saw them as idols, and their wanted posters fetched a high price. And there was a lot of people that like were trying to creep on the ships too to take pictures of all the Kuja as well, so they had to constantly deal with that. So yeah, I think Boa Hancock had sort of a point at a certain moment where he's like, I'm just gonna stay on this island, and you just, like, anybody that comes near us, we're just gonna attack them, right? Because the Kuja back then had to deal with this stuff, you know what I mean? I don't know how active Boa was with the Kuja Pirates, but this was the moment when they were in their heyday, so they were probably more active then than they are now with Boa, okay? So anyway, Gloriosa gets the love sickness here. We can assume at this point she decides to leave her status as Empress, leave the Kuja Pirates, and then she runs off to go chase after Roger, and then she ends up on the Rocks crew because of that, and so she abdicates the throne, I suppose, and it says Shakuyaku was crowned Empress shortly after this encounter with Roger Pirates, and her popularity continued to grow to an unmanageable level. It was already at an unmanageable level. I don't know how much, like, literally if she gets any more popular, it will break the fabric of reality. Like, that will happen, okay? So just calm down, Oda, calm down. But yeah, so we can also assume Shaki probably doesn't stay Empress for terribly long, maybe a few years. Shaki is 64 right now, which means if this flashback does take place 44 years ago, if it was the same as the last chapter, then Shaki is actually the same age as Nami is right now. She's 20, okay? So she probably stays Empress for like a few years, I don't know, 5 years, 10 years, maybe even not even that long. And then she abdicates as well to go run off with Rayleigh, I suppose. And she also, by the way, Shaki does mention when they meet her at Sabaody, she does mention that she was chased around by Garp back in her younger years, and here's that chapter right here, right? So she abdicates as well. Tritoma becomes the new Empress. She decides to stay. She gets the love sickness as well, but she doesn't leave to go chase after. We actually do not know the guy that she fell for, or the lady that she fell for, whoever she fell for. We don't know that, but she chose to stay on Amazon Lily and not leave, and then she died. And then Empress Boa took over. Boa Hancock took over. So there it is. Okay, so with that being said, we cut back to ELBAPH. I'm not putting the cloak back on. It's already, I'm moving around too much. It's already hot enough down here. I'll put the cloak back on when we get done with the flashback. All right. So we cut over to Ida's tavern in ELBAPH, the Lone Tavern. She's starting up her business model, right? So, Loki apparently, I guess, tried to get on a ship or, you know, like take a ship away from some merchants or fishermen and try to sail away from ELBAPH. But the ship capsized because Loki's so damn huge. So even for a regular giant, probably, it was built for a regular giant, Loki would still capsize it. So he almost drowned. So they had to haul him out of the water here. And then we have Harald and Ida on the shore of ELBAPH taking care of, like, Loki and making sure he's okay. So there's a little thing about the giants that were manning the ship of like whether or not they should have even pulled Loki out. You know, just like, I don't even really know if we should have saved him, honestly. You know, he's such an asshole to everybody around here. We maybe should have let him drown. Ida is obviously very upset about this. Now, Loki is not her child, but he's still a child, and these merchants or whoever they are, these giants that were on the ship, they were basically saying that like, yeah, we maybe should have just let him drown for the way he acts. And Ida's like, oh, you did not just say that. All right, and so she gives them a mouthful. And then you have by the way, Harald, the king of the country, and the father of Loki is standing right there. And these guys literally say, I honestly wondered whether I should have helped him or not. At least I'm assuming they said that. And then Harald is just like, sorry, thank you for saving him. And it's like, dude, you're the king of, like, am I missing something here? Because Ida is chewing them out. So apparently they're the ones that said that, right? They're the ones that basically said, man, we shouldn't even have saved Loki. Maybe we should just let him drown. And Harald's right there, and Harald's like, yeah, thanks for saving my son. Dude, I'm pretty sure that's the moment where you can, you know, send them to the dungeon or something. You're the king. I know you're supposed to be a kind king, but they're literally saying that they would have let your son get killed right in front of them and they wouldn't have helped. So damn. Anyway, let's see here. So she's chewing them out. What the hell? You shouldn't have even hesitated to help. How would you feel if Loki had died? And so Harald is like, come on, Ida. Loki's the one who selfishly took the ship and sailed off. Wait a minute, is Harald the one that said that? I don't even know who said that. Somebody was shouting that they shouldn't have even helped Loki. I don't know if it was Harald. I don't think it was Harald. It doesn't make much sense for it to be Harald, but whatever. Anyway. So Loki starts acting up. He's off to the side. He's laying down after he was pulled out of the ocean, and he was like, I didn't ask anyone to save me. So he's being a little bit of a brat. And so the merchant then speaks up. He's like, damn it, it's that piss poor attitude I was talking about. Once again, he raises a fist to go punch Loki. His dad is right there. Man, the balls on this guy, I'll say that. Anyway, Ida sits down and has a chat with Loki and Hiruden and everybody, and she says to Loki, you know, you lost your mom, and I know your dad is always busy. Maybe he could take you with him sometimes. She doesn't say that, but I wish she would have. I bet you must get pretty lonely, right, Loki? And then Loki's like, shut up, you old hag. And this doesn't, Ida doesn't let this upset her because she's just like, oh, you know, kids, what are you gonna do, right? And she's like, so she even offers for Loki to stay with her and Hiruden. She's like, oh, would you rather stay with us? And then exact moment, Loki and Hiruden both speak up at the same time, like, hell no, no way! And Loki starts going on a rant about how, I'm not convinced that you're even genuine, Ida. You're not being nice to me. You just wanna move into the castle. Yeah, because I'm the real prince, and you can't live in the castle because, you know, you're not from around here or whatever. And so Hiruden is about ready, because now he's shit-talking his mom. So Hiruden pulls out his sword. He's just like, oh, you son of a bitch. You don't talk that way about my mom. And even Harald at that point says something to Loki. He's just like, oh, hey, Loki, oh, come on now. That was uncalled for. You apologize to Ida right now. And then Ida's even just like, oh, whatever, you kids. You know, she's literally not letting it get to her. This right here kind of cements it into me anyway. Mosa is probably Ida. Now, I don't know if Ida is still currently on ELBAPH. We do not know. We haven't seen her around. Maybe she went somewhere else. Maybe she is currently on ELBAPH and she was communicating over the Den Mushi to Loki under the alias of Mosa. And when she said, like, hey, it's stuff's going bad happening now, I don't know what I'm going to do, she might have been talking about, like, the nightmare creatures attacking her village, or she might be in another location that's being attacked right now. We did think it was Marijwa. Is it at all possible Ida could have gotten kidnapped at some point and gotten taken to the Holy Land? Because she is nowhere to be seen or found at all during the present timeline, and this is the bar that she apparently owns. So Ida should not be, like, so old that she would be dead from that. In the present storyline, she should be alive wherever she is right now, and I think she is Mosa. I think this makes perfect sense with this scene right here. We also see Mato. Mato, that's like my Japanese name. But anyway, Mato was the bartender. She's basically the Makino of the present at ELBAPH, working at the bar, and she was there when Colin was there and when Shanks arrived, and Shanks and Dorian Broggy went and dealt with Kid's crew. Remember, she was the bartender there. We see her, and this is the kind of stuff I like about Oda. Like, this character is such a background character, like, nobody cares about her. She's just the bartender or whatever. But Oda takes the time to at least give us a panel of her, like, helping Ida with the bar back then, and so she's crying because, you know, she's around the same age as Loki and Hiruden and everything, and she's like, Loki's always so mean to you, Miss Ida, that's not fair the way Loki acts, and Ida's just like, aw, Mato, are you crying for me? Oh, bless your heart, sweetie, it's okay, it's alright, he doesn't mean it. You know, the world is full of kind and beautiful people, and so she says that to kind of cheer Mato up. So she'll grow up and be the bartender, she'll grow up and be the Makima, or Makino. Yeah, Makima, no, I mean, like, we don't really want to break this story, all right? We have Gloriosa, we have Shaki. If Makima shows up in this story now, game over, all right? It's like, yeah, all right, anyway. So Loki just gets up, and he's just like, I'm so sick of this damn country, it sucks. So Loki's just ready to, like, storm off. He's, like, done, because he's met Rox now. And Rox is, like, everything he looks up to. So he's like, I want to get the hell out of this country. I want to go travel with Rox. I want to rule the world. That would be awesome. I want to do stuff with Rox. Right? So he's entering his, like, rebellious phase, which for Loki, who was already rebellious, this is even, like, super rebellion, you know? This is really intense here. From then on, each time Rox visited to try to recruit Harald, which happened often, Loki would attempt to join the Rox crew, but he would ultimately never get his way. Here's a question. Rox straight up stabbed Loki once. Did Harald never find out about that? Did they keep it a secret? I understand Loki wouldn't have told his dad about that, but did nobody tell, hey, Harald, yeah, your son got stabbed. Oh, no, who did it? Rox, the guy that keeps showing up to try to recruit you? Oh, That's not good. You know, like, I don't know, so many questions involving Harald right now. Like, does he know as much as he does about, like, Loki's upbringing? Is he gonna try to, like, he's supposed to be the prince, right? The heir of ELBAPH. You think Harald at this point would be taking Loki around to show him the ropes of being the king, but he just like, well, I gotta get going for 6 years. Bye, Loki. Don't get in any trouble while I'm gone. And that's basically it. Harald's kind of a shit dad. I don't know if you noticed. Yeah. Loki wants to go out to sea, and we just get a panning shot out of ELBAPH. As we now cut over to Hachinosu, the pirate paradise. Okay. Several months after the Rock's crew takes over the pirate island. All right, so this is still 44 years ago. I don't know if the rest of the chapter was exactly at that point. I'm assuming it was, just to keep it all, like, the timeline straight and even. But this is taking place several months later, so not quite 43 years ago, 44 years ago. We see the mountain of Hachinosu. It has its overall shape. It kind of looks like a fish in this version, but it doesn't have any of the eye holes or, like, the things that make it look like a skull or, like, the bandana markings into the rock. The part that's the fish's tail will become, like, the knot of the bandana when it's remodeled. And we're going to see the remodeling in this chapter, actually. So anyway, a random ruffian. Ooh, that's some fun alliteration. A random ruffian lands on Pirate Island one day. And all of the pirates there are going up to him. He's like, where the hell'd you come from, buddy? He's like, I'm here to join the Rock's pirates. And it's like, ha, maybe in your dreams. You won't even lay eyes on them. All right, well, here's the deal. You see that mountain up there that looks like a fish? The Rock's pirates are up there. If you want to see them, all you got to do is walk up and have a meeting. Thing is, though, the further you get into the island, the more crazy the pirates get, so I hope you'll be able to stand up to them. What's especially funny is this guy is like, well, actually, I don't know. He's a pretty bulky dude, but I thought he was way bigger than he really was. Like, I guess he's not, like, giant size or anything like that. He's just a bulky guy. He's almost like, okay, be honest. Have you ever played a D&D character where you're playing this dude right here? Like, you roll into the town and you're wearing a cloak. Like, okay, you know, Mark, introduce your character. Okay. I stroll into town wearing a cloak. Can't even really see my face. I'm looking for the Rock's pirates. Anybody see them around? Well, they're up there on the mountain if you could reach them. Reach them, huh? Yeah, that is if you're strong enough. Strong enough. Can I roll for intimidation? You know? And of course, that's when you roll a 1 and you fall flat on your face. You slip on a banana peel and fall on your face. But no, he's kind of like that. He's got the cloak. He's got the giant axe on his back. He's wandering through town. So the other pirates are accosting him and it's just like, take that! And they're kicking him around. And they knock off his cloak. And you get to see his face. And it is revealed that he is, in fact, Zephyr. It's Zed from Film Z? From Film Zed? Zed the Z? Like, what? No, so, okay, he does look a lot like Zephyr, okay, which is especially convenient because I just did a video on Zephyr being canon like 2 days ago, talking about if Zephyr was going to be the admiral that, Rox killed. I guess not, because now he's this guy. Maybe the admiral faked his death. Maybe this is Zephyr. He faked his death and became Silver Axe. Yeah, this is Silver Axe. You know what? I wasn't expecting Silver Axe, the guy that was mentioned once, to have this much of, like, aura, this much of an opening, of a presence. Like, Oda goes hard with this guy in this chapter, really. He was mentioned offhandedly once. We don't even see the dude during God Valley. He was never mentioned again. It was just rattling off as Sengoku was talking about the Rock's Pirates. Like, oh yeah, Wang Ji, Captain John, Silver Axe, and that was it. And then we get this guy right here. Right? So he's a big, tough, burly dude. Does look a lot like Zephyr. Also, I don't know if I'm the only one that sees this here. He also kind of looks a little bit like Don Krieg. Incidentally, 44 years ago is when Don Krieg was born. Some people were saying maybe Don Marlin is the father of Don Krieg because they both have Don in the name. I'm pretty sure he's a Mafia Don. But no, I wouldn't say Don Marlin is the father of Krieg. But if you were going to say this dude right here was the father of Krieg, and we know Krieg and Geen are on Hachinosu right now in the present, Pearl's there as well, they all survived. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, so he's got a really badass kimono covered in like a design of axes. And he's got a big axe on his back. And he's Silver Axe, except his name isn't Silver Axe. His name right now, 44 years ago, is Kyo the Wicked. Kyo. The only other Kyo I know of, I think, in anime is from Fruits Basket. I wonder if he's going to be able to live up to his legacy. I don't know. What other Kyos are there in anime? I don't know. The first one that pops into my head is Fruits Basket. Can he turn into a cat? That'd be funny if he could turn into a cat. Anyway, so the pirates that are accosting him, Kyo just like takes his big meaty fist and just reaches out and just like crushes a pirate's head right in his palm and just... Where rocks? Rocks up there. Okay. It's like the Incredible Hulk walking around. I love his sunglasses. His sunglasses have like X's in them. Like not just a design or like a glare. They're really like the glasses like are shaped, like not shaped, but they have like an X in them, okay? I don't know what that does for his vision, but it looks so damn sweet. Kyo the Wicked. And people off to the side are freaking out when they find out who he is, because he's famous, he's infamous, they know his name. What's Shiki's rival doing here? Okay, we're gonna do a flip. By the way, Silver Axe, Golden Lion, Shiki. Silver and gold. Should have realized that sooner. That's on me. Silver and gold. Silver and gold. All right, yeah. So Silver Axe was a rival of the Golden Lion. Go figure. Anyway, Silver Axe is the one in that grave at Wano. I would rather this guy be dead and Shiki still be alive than the other way around. And Kyo the Wicked, Silver Axe, picked up his axe and he went to go to try to save everybody. Maybe he was born in the West and raised in Ringo. Let's go with that. Fine, let's go with that. All right. The strong gathered around Rocks, and their very presence attracted even stronger recruits. So, you know, Rocks takes over the pirate island and has this massive pirate crew. You got Whitebeard, you got Wang, you got Gonzui, you got Don Marlin there, all these really heavy hitters. So that's going to make other people start turning their heads and being like, huh, this Rocks crew. It's like a magnet, you know, everybody's getting pulled together because everybody probably, number one, wants to test their mettle. Kyo might also be here to take Shiki's head. That might also be the thing. He might not be here for that reason, but like some other characters like Gil Bastar and Captain John, we're going to see John in this chapter too, maybe they showed up because it's like, hey, this Rocks guy seems to know what's what. You know, a bunch of really strong pirates. Let's go join him, see what's up with that guy, right? That seems the idea. At that exact moment, the eyeballs explode outwards of the giant fish mountain. So now it actually begins to look like a skull. And the person responsible for this excavation was none other than Rocks D. Zebek, matey, who also talks like a pirate. So he uses, I'm assuming, his peculiar swordsmanship ability, or his devil fruit power, or his sword's devil fruit power, to just blast away the eye holes out of the mountain. And so he's the one that renovated it himself. You know, I'm starting to get to the point that it is the sword that has the devil fruit, and the way it works is like, I don't know, like Rocks makes like a circle with his blade, and then hits it really hard, and then it like blasts a perfect circle out. Maybe something like that with his power, still trying to figure it out. It talks about making stuff fly out, like a cannon, or artillery, or something, so it has to be something along those lines. Anyway, he blasts out a view out of the mountain. He's like, what a view! Look at this scenery! Blasting a couple of holes in this place was the right call after all. And all of these shadowy characters are behind him. He's like it's like that scene in Bleach when you meet the Espada. It's like such a palpable moment. This was the formation of the Rocks pirates, matey. This is the shit right here. Rocks comes out. He addresses all of Pirate Island below him. As I was saying, there are two devil fruits I'm after. One of them most likely is on ELBAPH, and it only will show its true power once Harald eats it. All right, so that's talking about the legendary devil fruit. We still don't know what it is, but he says right here, Harald has to eat it to receive its true power. Also meaning, I'm assuming somebody of ancient giant lineage has to eat this power, or how to get this power from the fruit in order to truly unlock everything it's capable of. Which means Loki also applies to this. So Loki maybe ate the fruit as well. We saw a shadowy person open up the vault and go after the fruit, but we don't know who that was. That shadowy person didn't seem to have horns like Loki does. Not sure who it would be exactly, but hopefully, like, the idea is that Loki does have it. They did chain Loki up with Sea Prism, but they probably would have done that anyway, because Sea Prism is like, it's like the most indestructible substance in One Piece, so even if Loki never ate a devil fruit, they would still probably use that stuff anyway. So, I don't know, like, was it ever directly, concretely, objectively mentioned that the chains were weakening Loki because he was a devil fruit user? Was it? I'd have to go back and check. Maybe it was. Maybe it was. Not sure. But anyway, so we still don't know what that devil fruit was, but we get some hints here, all right? And also, keep in mind, he says another devil fruit he's after as well. We don't know what that one is either, and they don't even mention the other one. So we see Captain John here, you know, pulling back a bottle like he always does. We need those, like, Galleria giants, too, don't we? The Galleria giants, right? Okay. I've heard the legends, but I just don't know if they're real or not, right? And then Charlotte Linden, Big Mom, is there. Big Mom, 44 years ago, so she'd be 24, I think, at this point. Yeah. So 44 years ago, yeah, like, Perospero is 6 at this point. Katakuri is 5. I don't even think Katakuri ate his devil fruit yet. The Opera siblings, the quintuplets, they're around. I think Zukato would have been her most recent child at this point. Big Mom mentions, I'm using all my contacts to try and track them down, but there's nothing about any frozen army of giants. So Jarl mentioned there were rumors about a frozen army of giants, but that's all they were just rumors. So Big Mom heard about those rumors as well, trying to figure out if there's any evidence for them, but she hasn't been able to track anything down yet. Also, keep in mind, her information network, while it's so great right now, would have been not as good back then. I mean, you know, this was like 44 years ago. We see Whitebeard there, and he's saying, even if you do find the Galleria giants, what good are they? They're just a bunch of corpses now. Then we see Stroizen. Stroizen was a member of Big Mom's crew because Stroizen met Charlotte Linlin all the way back at that island after she apparently ate Mother Caramel and got the Soul powers and traveled around with her for a while. One could actually say it's because of Stroizen's negative influence Big Mom became a pirate, because she was just on that island, like, sad and alone that Mother Caramel had left her. She was only 6 years old at that point, right? Like, if a Marine would have found her, or if somebody else would have found her, maybe her life would have gone completely differently. But Stroizen was there, and he was like a little imp that was just like, ah, yes, let's go commit crime. And so, you know, that's where she started her, like, legacy of being a pirate. We see that in the flashback. Stroizen here would be around 50 years old. He's a relatively old character in One Piece. He's in his late 90s, I think. Or maybe, wait, no, it might be early 90s. He's in his 90s. So he's around 50 years old, around 44 years ago. He also looks rather chubby compared to what he was when he met Big Mom all those years ago, right? So he looks like he's put on some weight. The food that he creates, we're actually going to be doing a video on his devil fruit soon, the ingredient fruit, the cook fruit, that's what it's called. So he makes food out of anything. It doesn't taste very good, but it does have calories and, like, nutritional value, so he's probably been eating a little bit too much here. So Whitebeard says, oh, what good are finding the giants if they're all dead? Stroizen doubles down by saying, exactly, there's no way to bring back the dead. Then we have a fishman that was a member of Rox's crew that says, even if they did come back to life, they'd have no reason to listen to you. So they're talking a lot in this chapter. There's 3 characters back to back. Whitebeard, Stroizen, and this fishman named Barbell. We'll get to him in a moment. He's the mysterious fishman that was currently unknown. So we actually, everybody we know on Rox's crew that was shown, we know now, except the guy that fought with the Wolverine claws way in the distance. But we know about Gilbastar and Gonzui and Wang and everything like that. I almost think that Oda went on the wiki and looked at everybody on the Rox crew and was like, all right, I haven't revealed Silverax and that fishman guy yet, so I'll reveal that in the next chapter, and here we go, right? So way to go, Oda, for completion. The only guy we don't see yet is Gilbastar. We don't see Gilbastar with his forearms and his guns showing up yet. But that's an idea. Like, they gathered up really strong characters because more people kept flocking to Pirate Island to see Rox, okay? So anyway, 3 characters back to back, Whitebeard, Stroizen, and Barbell, are all talking about bringing the dead back to life, or at the very least, speaking with the dead. Could one of the devil fruits that they were talking about possibly be The Kage Kage no Mi, Moria's fruit. It does allow you to bring corpses back to life with other shadows. Could it be Brook's fruit? Was Rox looking for the Yomi Yomi no Mi? Now, the Yomi Yomi no Mi probably would not work on somebody that's already dead, right? I think you have to be alive to eat the fruit. So, like, let's say somebody dies and they've been dead for like 3 days, and then you grab the Yomi Yomi no Mi and you go and you try to feed it to them. Would that work? I don't think so. I don't think a corpse can eat a devil fruit. Although, hold on a moment. When I was in Japan, I actually did pick up Brook's fruit, the Yomi Yomi no Mi. It's always nice to have the revival fruit on standby in case you need it, right? You never know when you're gonna go. But anyway, yeah, you know, objects can eat devil fruits. Do corpses count as objects? I don't know. I'm assuming they don't. I'm assuming you can't make a corpse eat of devil fruit. So I think Yomi Yomi no Mi. But the thing is, they might not know that. They might just hear Yomi Yomi no Mi, the revive fruit, and might think, that's a devil fruit that revives people. Let's get our hands on it, and then we can bring the giants back to life and talk to them. Also, a side thing with the Kage Kage no Mi. It brings corpses back to life, but with other people's shadows that have to be living. Let me ask you a question, because we don't know that much about how it all works, I guess, but, like, I don't think they keep their memories. Maybe they do. Like, Ryuma got reanimated with Brook's shadow at Thriller Bark, right? If they would have went up to Ryuma and asked him, hey, Ryuma, tell me an extensive story of your entire life growing up. Would have Ryuma's corpse been able to recall the memories of Ryuma? Would Ryuma have been able to be like, oh, sure, I was born in Ringo, in the country of Wano, about 400 years ago. I was revered as the sword god. Here's the story of my parents. Here are the stories of my battle. Here's the story of when I slew a dragon. You know, like, would Ryuma's corpse, Ryuma's zombie, been able to say all that stuff? Because he was animated with Brook's shadow. It seemed like Ryuma knew that he was a samurai from Wano, and he carried himself like that, but it didn't seem like he had every part of himself there. I don't know. It was a mixture of, like, Brook's personality and Ryuma a little bit. I'm not really sure how that would have went down. Or there could be another devil fruit that we've never encountered before that has the ability to maybe speak with the dead, like a spell in D&D, speak with dead. Maybe it's something like that, a devil fruit that lets you speak to the dead, not necessarily resurrect the dead. And Barbell, the catfish fishman, is saying even if they did come back, they wouldn't listen to you. We see him there when he's at God Valley. He seems to have a different haircut. Here he seems to have like wild, crazy, like flame hair going on. But yeah, that's that character. Then we have Kaido. Kaido's only 15 years old right here, okay? He's a young, up-and-coming pirate that is already super strong. He was a super soldier in the Vodka Kingdom before they were about to sell him off. So Kaido's there and he's just like, why don't we just use our strength to go and subjugate the giants and force Harald to join if you need him so bad? At that point, Rox beats the shit out of Kaido, kicks him right in the face, and Kaido goes down and he gets back up and he's just like, why, you son of a bitch, you know? And so it's like, all right, calm down, everybody, calm down. Kaido, knock it off, right? And so this goes to show just the dynamic of the Rox crew, how they were all kind of at each other's throats. But Rox actually stands up for Harald here. He says, he is my friend. You never talk shit about my friend, all right? I want Harald to join, but it's under his own will and its own decision, all right? I'm not going to force him to do anything. This is a guy that's integral for Rox's plan to take over the world. And he's like, yeah, we're not going to force him, though. He has to do it of his own free will. That's, I guess, honor a bit, but he also did stab a child. So, like, Rox is a complicated man, you know what I mean? John even says, like, hey, let's hold off on killing each other until we make a little bit more cash. You know, we get a little bit more of that capital, and then we could just slaughter each other someday. And he kind of says that, like, yeah, one day we are kind of destined to explode. Like, there's going to be a moment, or implode, I guess. There's going to come a day when we're all going to, like, kill each other. But that's not today. That's not yet. All right, we still have a plan to uphold, right? So we get the final double-page spread of the chapter. chapter where we see Rock standing in front of Wang Ji, Edward Newgate, Don Marlin, he's holding out a shotgun, getting ready to fight, Shiki, the Golden Lion, Barbell, the Catfish, Charlotte Linlin, Big Mom, Gonzui, the Pirate Smuggler, Kaido of the Beast, he's not of the Beast yet, Kaido of the One Beast, Captain John, the Drunk, Stroyson, and then we have Rocks in the center, who's just like, listen up, you lot! ELBAPH is the key to bring down the Holy Land. And if any of you don't buy that, then get lost. I don't need you. It's your choice if you want to stand with me on the Day of Destiny. Oh, that sounds cool. Maybe that's what the Will of D stands for. But if you've got the guts, follow me, and I'll take you to the world's summit. The summit of High West? Are we finally going to see the summit of High West? That'd be crazy. End of chapter. There's a holiday next week, so I believe Shonen Jump's on break. Whoo! Oh, man! It just keeps getting fired up, don't it? Oh, man. I like the way Rox is kind of commanding his men, though. He's kind of like, listen, I'm not forcing any of you to stay here. I mean, I did, I guess, win some of you in a Davy back fight, but if you want to leave, he says right here, if you don't believe that, get lost. I don't need you. Leave. All right, but if you stick with me, you're going straight to the top. Number 1. Oh, man, Day of Destiny, that's cool. If you've got the guts. Guts from Berserk shows up. He's also wearing a cloak. He bumps into Silveraxe. It's like, oh, sorry, I'm trying to find this guy called Griffith. Oh, yeah, he's over there. Oh, okay. You look cool, by the way. Yeah, you too, man. Dude, if Guts joined, Guts and Makima show up at the end of this chapter. Dude, that's so fun. I don't know why, but just that scene. Now, I'm just throwing random anime characters showing up joining Rox's crew. That needs to be a bit. We need to do that now. But seriously, Guts showing up with the cloak and the Dragon Slayer, and then Makima showing up also being like in an office attire, being like, I heard you were accepting members. It's like the fucking Avengers. Okay. All right. Anyway. Holy, I mean, like, there's a lot. I mean, I don't even know what to even, like, final thoughts. I don't even know how to summarize this. Glorios is hot, but Shaki was way hotter, and she almost broke reality. She was Goth Nami, and then some stuff at ELBAPH happened. You know, Loki was being a brat or whatever, and then we saw Silveraxe, who may or may not be Zephyr's long-lost twin, and also Don Krieg's daddy. And then the Rox Pirates in their full glory. Rox renovated a mountain. We saw a catfish. Stroyzen got fat, and yeah, that's where it is. So the big one in this chapter, I think, is what is the legendary devil fruit? What is the other devil fruit? And does it involve raising the dead or talking to the dead? I think that's a big thing in this chapter. You might bring up the Uanomi model Azure Dragon and the Pawpaw fruit, because those were fruits that the Rox Pirates went after at God Valley. So the way that we understand that is that, yes, they got their hands on those devil fruits. Then the Tenryubito or the God's Knights or Cypher Pools, somebody snuck into Hachinosu, stole them, brought them to God Valley. So one of the fruits is definitely Harald's. So it can't be both the Pawpaw fruit and the Uanomi, but it could have been one of them. The Pawpaw fruit might make the most sense. I think maybe he was talking about bringing down the Holy Land, Rox. So having a devil fruit that would allow you to easily access the Holy Land, like Kuma's teleportation abilities, although then again, we didn't see Kuma. Kuma wasn't really able to reach the top of the red line. He had to fly over and then climb up the red line. So maybe the Pawpaw fruit wasn't one of them. But the dragon fruit, though, if you mastered it and you could use the island, the floating clouds, you could reach Marijua probably. So it could be Harald's devil fruit and Kaido's devil fruit that they were after. They got their hands on the devil fruit. They didn't know who they were going to give it to yet. Then the Tenryubito show up, steal the fruit, take it to God Valley, and they had to go to God Valley to get it back because it was essential for their plan to work. Also, there were 6 treasure chests at God Valley. We only got to see what was inside 2 of them. What were in the other 4? Was it just treasure? I guess one had a baby Shanks. But there had to be maybe, not had to be, but there might have been another devil fruit in one that we didn't see. Maybe. Anyway, yeah. Well, we got another 2 weeks. We got another break, so more time to talk about what happened here. Let me know about your favorite part of the chapter. Just take your pick. Just take any random page. My favorite moment was the reveal of Barbell the Fishman. He's going places. We don't know if he's dead yet. I mean, he does kind of look like the creepy, you know, Iron Maiden zombie from Thriller Bark. But other than that, he's probably still alive. Anyway, yeah, crazy stuff. Let me know about the Devil Fruits and the rest of Rox's plan. Rox's plan, it's all coming together, ladies and gentlemen. Are we just gonna move to God Valley? You know, I mean, there has to be, the reason we're seeing this shit is there has to be another moment involving Rox and Harold. There had to be a breaking point where Harold had to finally at least maybe put his foot down and be like, I'm not joining your pirate crew anymore. I'm not doing it. It's never gonna happen. Or does Harold, in fact, join the Rox crew at some point? But he leaves before God Valley. Also, we don't see Silver Axe at God Valley. So Silver Axe might have died before God Valley. We don't know. Guess we'll just have to find out. But how far is this going to go? I have no idea. Thanks for watching, everybody. Good to be back. Teching, signing out.